Hello, it's Roy with CRR Nukes and Clues, working on a 2001 Dodge Ram 3500, the Cummins 5.9 liter 24 valve diesel, and replacing throttle position sensor today. This was the package. The old Wells sensor came in roughly 7 years ago. In it is a sensor from a parts store that only lasted about a year. It probably actually quit before warranty ran out. Here's the new sensor, also from Wells. You can get them numbers there if you need them to look up. I called Wells using the number off the documentation that came in the paperwork in the old box. Their new one does not come with a box. They recommended looking up Rock Auto or a parts store for their parts because they do not sell direct, only through parts dealers. We got Espanol and some other stuff. And here's the sensor removed using a T20 Torx bits. That's right here, or the new screws actually. I've got the sensor replaced on here already, but not fully tightened down. You see the red mark around there? The previous time I replaced it, I put a red mark around there with a marker so I'd know where it came off to help adjustment be easier. Those new screws had thread lock on them, and one of them wouldn't go in at all. So and the tip of my T20 Torx was worn down here. I took it to the belt sander and flattened it back down so it wouldn't slip, but in one of the screws it still did. So what I did, use some blue thread lock, not the red, that'll make it permanent, but the blue will work, and put that on the threads, put it in there. I'm not connected yet like I need to be, so that I can try to show where this sensor goes. The plug, it plugs right in there through the side where I had the little hole is there. I had a tiny little zip tie through it to make sure it couldn't get loose. It would hold it outwards. I had just cut that off it right there with a little tiny side cutter. According to our diagram here that's being a pain, in figure 3 we're supposed to use pin number 3 to check the voltage, and I'll read that off in just a minute, the directions, but I want to show it first. So from the back side, if we were looking at the front, that would be that one for pin number 3. So on the back side it's that location, if I can get hands to work and stuff to cooperate. So it's in there. It should have contact. I will be plugging it in. I've already reconnected the batteries. You got to at least disconnect both negative battery cables before connecting. I had all 4 disconnected because I had to disconnect the starter end of the cable because truck wouldn't start this morning. Had to clean every single contact on all wires. Added some washers to keep these other wire ends down flat instead of twisting around like they used to do. Cleaned off that starter cable end, but I'm afraid the starter's going out. I'll find out. Anyway, the original removal, the plastic cover has these little push-in keepers. It's just a Phillips screwdriver. You usually need a hook, a little flathead, tiny one underneath there to get some tension. Screw it up and then lift each piece out of the little holes. One in the front, one in the top, and then it just slides off of that cover. You see the 6 little bolts there. Use a 10mm socket with a short extension going in those 6 holes. If you buy the assembly from a dealership or an auto parts store, you'll usually get this entire assembly pre-calibrated, and the stupid sensors don't last as long as wells. I'll explain why in a moment. With theirs, you're not paying for all this aluminum and steel and everything. It's actually cheaper to get a higher quality sensor that you can use on there. And because it's made with magnets instead of contacts, when the contacts inside rub, every time you accelerate, especially the speed range where if you say drive about 50 to 55 the most, that area gets worn right there. Whatever RPM it takes to do that. And then the engine starts surging, revving up and down all by itself, even if you got the cruise control set or your foot sitting perfectly still while you're going down the road. Well, this had started doing that gradually throughout this year, and then pulling a load recently, it was doing that ridiculously. Like I said, had to disconnect the negative, all that, pull these out to remove it, change that little sensor. Now the installation, it's obviously already screwed on there with the T20 Torx, and we're ready for calibration after putting the negative cable back on. So it tells us to turn key to on position, do not start engine, monitor the TPS/EPPS voltage using a scan tool or a voltmeter on pin number 3 labeled on the connector, figure 3, which I already showed you. Rotate sensor clockwise or counterclockwise so the TPS EPPS voltage is between 0.50 volt and 0.60 volt, or 10% to 12% if you're using the scan tool. Tighten the 2 Torx screws when sensor is positioned correctly. After screws are tightened, verify TPS EPPS voltage is still in range. Readjust as needed. Turn key to off position. Position assembly to engine and install 6 bolts. Tighten bolts to 12 Newton meters or 105 inch-pounds. Remember, that's inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. There's 12 inches in a foot, folks. So if you don't have an inch-pounds torque wrench, just make sure you don't over tighten them or leave them where they can get loose. Remember, the Loctite on the tiny screws is to keep vibration of that engine from turning the screws out. You might want to use it on those others also. Then install the cable cover. Electronic control module calibration. Turn key to on position. Without starting engine, slowly press throttle pedal to floor and then slowly release. This step must be done one time to ensure throttle position sensor calibration has been learned by ECM. If not done, possible DTCs, diagnostic trouble codes, may be set. It is common for diagnostic trouble codes to occur during installation and calibration procedure. Use scan tool to erase DTCs from ECM. I read this off, tried to show it so maybe you can see it, because this information is not easy to find on the internet. It doesn't come with a new part anymore. They do come with the new screws. You always have to reuse the little washers on there to make sure that the screw doesn't push into the hole on the slotted hole on the sensor like you see in this old one there. Once I get this all calibrated, I should be in good shape. Hopefully the truck will start again. If not, I'll have to use something else to go get a starter. And then finally be able to test drive it and prepare for the work that actually needed to be done to use this truck instead of working on it. Thank you for your time. I hope this helps a lot of people. And again, that is Wells Vehicle Electronics. You can find them pretty easily. Their website now is WVE. Okay, oh, here we go. WVEbrand.com. So you can look them up. You can find that stuff through Parts Geek is where I ordered this. They seem to be fairly reliable as long as FedEx doesn't damage your package and can't figure out where to send it. Yeah. Take care and thank you.